Good evening, people. Good evening. This is Spirit Journey. How are we today? Yes, this is Spirit Journey, and today, well, it's a late Monday evening, August 11, 2025, and it's about maybe 10 minutes to midnight. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, boy, what a busy day. What a busy day today, and I have a lot to say. I have some good and controversial subjects to talk about today, and wow, I think it's very important news. Hey, Nubian, yeah, how you doing, Nubian? Good to hear from you. Yeah, I hope all is well with you. Hey, meaning to say, in case you was trying to contact me on DM, yeah, I canceled my accounts, and so I don't have DM anymore. No Facebook, and some other social media. And so, yeah, I was meaning to mention about that. So if you wanted to get in contact with me through this method, you could like write a note and then, we can WhatsApp. Yeah, I have WhatsApp. So that's a method we could communicate now. Yeah, I just deleted my accounts, and I just felt I needed to just limit certain social media stuff. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I got some controversial things to talk about. Boy, I feel kind of edgy right now. Something that I was just listening to regarding African hair braiding in, what's that, New Jersey and the tri-state area. I was just, I was looking up some information that I saw some years ago, and instead it showed me this one video, and it kind of angered me. But I also wanted to talk about something more positive too. So it's two spectrums. I'm going to talk about the controversy with African hair braiding, and I want to talk about the good thing first. I want to talk about my life in Rwanda regarding Black community here. Yeah, I want to talk about that. Again, the spectrum is very broad. Oh, I'm not sure exactly how to begin. Well, I was invited to something over the weekend, and a gathering, and I had a really nice time. I had lunch with some local people, and I'm learning about so many things, and I have so many more things to learn about. And it's to open up understanding and the excitement about Black Africa. I hate to word it like that. I'm here in Rwanda, which is in East Africa, Central East Africa. And I mean, it's a lot of wonderful people. The people of Rwanda are very nice to me. And so, what I wanted to share that, I do come from America, born and raised in America, of Caribbean ancestry, though, but very similar. The history, what happened in the Americas is similar to all of the Americas, but different as well. But I share this portion of this a live stream that I find really about expanding the mind, and that, hey, people, especially Black America, if you don't like it there, hey, look into moving, going elsewhere. Um, People are being mistreated in America. Things are happening. A lot of politics. Again, I love my country. I love America, but I don't love what's happening. Okay, they're two separate things. There's like you can have family members that you love. You love your family, but not everybody in your family are good people, right? Just being honest. But either way, what I'm learning is that, there are different ways of living. And I always wanted to leave, America because I was a curious person. I'm the youngest of a large family. And I just felt like I didn't fit. I didn't belong in a lot of things. And I just wanted to know what's out there. I just felt restricted. And here, late in my life, I finally had the opportunity to leave a little over a year and a half ago. And I'm seeing that there's other ways of living. There are other ways of living in life. And I'm excited. And so this part of this live stream is what I'm going to talk about. You know, there are all different societies within African communities, in Africa itself. And I wanted to experience before my last breath, I wanted to experience what it's like to live in a black society where you have black leaders, a black president, black country, a country that's run by black people. And I wanted something black centric. And I wanted to be able to like go to a store and it's owned by the locals, black locals, or you want to go to a doctor's and then you have a black doctor from where you're from. You know, I like that. It was very exciting, and in America, I was spending my money, but it's never being spent for onto my community. And it's like, wow. I'm also seeing that there are people, like you have people who educated here in Rwanda. I live in Rwanda. You have black folk of all different types, all different phenotypes that live here in Rwanda and the continent itself. All different types of people, all different types of experiences. And I'm meeting families that what we call a middle class or professional class Africans. They have beautiful homes, some of these people, beautiful homes. Their children are educated. They bring their kids to higher learning. Yeah, I went to someone's home and the person has a very high position and they are involved in education. And I think all his kids, he had 7 kids, and they have their master's degrees. And they go to school all over the world. One of these kids go to school in India. Some of them go to school in America. Some go to, where's that? Some of them, oh, I don't know if any of them actually went to colleges here. There are colleges here in Rwanda. There are people who are learning all types of things, earning their degrees, living a middle class life, who travel all over the world. Asia, Africa, America, Europe, Latin America, all over the world. It is exciting to see this. This is what I wanted to be exposed to be around people like this, to see that, wow, there are different ways of living. Not everybody has to live in criminality, doing drugs, selling drugs, being stupid in your behavior, creating dismay in your community back in America. People, you got to wake up. Not every, I think most people in the world are good, But you have one bad apple, it's going to affect everything else. We, as Black people, have to be very selective who is in our neighborhood. Not everybody who looks like you are you, right? Someone could be Black, but they're not of your community. They're of the community of the devil. You better be selective who is teaching your kids, who is playing with your kids, who is running your government in the Black community. You better be very selective because you can be harmed. Be selective. And when you go abroad, you're going to see that the game is, it's different. People here, they want to protect where they live. And it's not being racist because you want to protect what you love. If you love something, you better protect it because it could be taken from you, regardless of your race, creed, color, you know, your religion, and all that. You got to expand your thinking. Expand your thinking. Life is very complex. And it's not simple. It's not just a cookie cutter. It's really detailed. But I think it's so refreshing, though, to see that you have Blacks that are living a very comfortable life and are educating their children and are earning their degrees. Why stay in a place that think you're inferior, that teach your kids that they're nothing? Get out of there. Why are you paying your money to have this BS, this nonsense, this brainwashing that's happening against your children, against yourselves, or the education that you're learning in your community in America or anywhere in the world? Is it serving you or you serving it? A lot of these what we call special ed programs in the schools really used to target Black people. You wild them up, get them all upset and everything, and then force them to take so-called medication so they won't be jittery in classroom. And then you keep them there and dumb them down, and they graduate knowing absolutely nothing but criminality. Do you want to expose your kids to that? Do you really want that? People, open your eyes. If your country is not serving you, go to a place where it may be able to serve you a little better. You know, if it's not serving you, why stay? Why stay? Yeah, there's no perfect place. But wow, when I went to that party and saw that, that there are other ways of living. And it's unfortunate that media in America is not showing these other countries and how Blacks around the world are living. They want to show you just poverty. Well, we have some Blacks who are very wealthy. But there are things that are still the same, even though, they might have money. You have a lot of Black people with money, but I noticed that in Black communities, they're not really serviced so much of quality stuff, in my opinion. In my opinion, uh, standards. There's not a high standard with regard to certain practices, though. Or the types of stores. Still, in other communities, that the the presentation, the how things are set up in these businesses, so the business really aren't really catering to them, the comforts, like you might have of a beauty salon, but it's all cramped. Or let's say you have a bus system, of transportation, but you're cramped like sardines. So things like that still exist even in Africa. You're squashed like a sardine, no air conditioning. And, we generate a lot of heat when we're, out there. And so why are you not helping? Well, it's like you're used to this. It's like, oh, well, it's just hot. Okay. Do something about it. Get some fucking air conditioning. You need to treat yourself well. Treat yourself well. And demand for these people who might come into your community to start businesses that it has a high standard of service to you. So wants to open a bus system, hey, make sure those seats are safe and secure, safety belts, air conditioning, cleanliness, supermarkets, clean foods, clean floors, clean the windows, man. People with clean outfits on. Have a higher standard for yourself. Okay? Yeah, now the real controversy, what I wanted to talk about, that's really pissing me off. Well, I was thinking about this situation that I saw some years back. Well, I was living in America at the time. I'm from New York City, and I saw over the internet this a news report in New Jersey. New Jersey is right next door. It's a state. It's right next door to New York, and there were individuals from West Africa. I forget the name of the country in West Africa. My apology for that. And this story went like this. You had they were all African. They're from the same country. And a young female was approached, say, hey, you want to do some hair braiding in America, make money? Sure, I'll do that. Yeah. The lady said, hey, you got your passport? Yeah. Okay, so you come with us. So she goes. Um, and then they said, hey, let's hold your passport. So she didn't think anything of it. Well, they took a passport and then they physically abused her. And they said, you better get these here done. You better make X amount of money or else. They locked her in a room. They had her sleep on the floor. Yeah, this was in New Jersey. But they had them work in Manhattan, in Harlem. And they were enslaving, they were tricking African girls, young women, and they were trafficking them to America to do hair braiding, since hair braiding is a very, 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 very popular business. It was a husband and wife team that were enslaving African women from their own country in West Africa. Yes. And then one day, that girl got loose and she went to the authorities. And yes, they found out where that African couple lived, and they were arrested. They had over $1 million. $1 million. These were wealthy African people enslaving their own people, forcing them, well, tricking them to come to America to do hair braiding, and then enslave them, beat them, force them to sleep on the floor, and say, if you don't make your quota. Yeah, they were arrested, that couple. It's very sad, the mentality, why people do these things. You have someone that's willing to come and work for you, and then you exploit them like that and abuse them. Evil people. I wonder, are these are descendants of people who human traffic black people, to force them to do slave labor in the Americas? You start to wonder, who are these people? What is it? What is their history? Yeah, so I wanted to look up that story. It just popped in my mind. Oh, there was something else I also wanted to talk about. Yeah, I'm talking about the hair business, but I also want to talk about China. Very important. I hope I can remember that too. I want to talk about China as well. Okay, yeah, Chinese people doing businesses in Africa, and it's an important issue too. It's all related. It's about human trafficking. So I'm concerned. So so I wanted to find out that story, and when I typed into YouTube, the story thing, African woman, African hair braider being trafficked, I popped up this one particular video, and this video, it wasn't the one I was looking for, but it was very pointed, and it was very upsetting to me. Yeah, I hold the hair business. I take it personal. I have a history with regard to the beauty field. And so I'm very sensitive about it because bad things happened to me in the business. I was in so many businesses, you know, learning, trying to find out where I fit in life. Let me tell you what was happening. What was I saying now? Yeah, so when I wanted to look up that particular case, this other video popped up. Then I watched it, and it angered me because of many issues. There are many issues. I felt the people who produced the video were really trying to push the narrative, the race narrative, to trigger you, to try to get their way. But it's like with the trafficking, that they're trying to push trafficking, and they're using even Black Americans to support trafficking of people, human beings that are being exploited. But oh, they use the race card. Yeah, I'm not popular, people. I know that some of the things I talk about is not popular, and people may not like what I'm saying, but I speak the truth though. And I speak through a perspective of understanding certain things because I've experienced many things. And so I'm speaking out of my experience. But yes, everybody has their own experience. And yes, they are entitled to their thinking or understanding because of what they went through. But this is what I went through. And so the video showed the video was, again, coincidentally, was in New Jersey. Jersey is very political, and the people who run the hair, but cosmetology, they're either Italians or Jews that dominated. Okay, the set of rules and everything like that. That was at least back in the 1980s, where I went to school in New Jersey, uh, a licensed school, and my experiences there. Okay. So they wanted to push the narrative strictly on the race card, but not seeing the whole picture. And again, they're trying to trigger Black Americans to support this, but in the long run, it's actually for your demise. Okay, they had a Black American woman, young, to do the reporting, and she's talking to African-born, West Africans who are hair braiders. They do hair. They did it, learn. their craft in West Africa, and they come to America to make money, just like those individual. Well, let me. I'm sorry. I was going to say something, but it's not fair to say that. Okay, people want to make money, and so they race over to America, thinking that they're going to make money in the fast track. But you want to, you have to pay to play. You have to pay to play. Whether you have a hundred generations doing hair braiding, you're coming into American system, and Americans do things a certain way. Americans have a high standard, and that's why a lot of people love coming to America, because the high standards of living. We have paved roads, we have buildings that are strong. So if there's an earthquake and stuff like that, things tend to stay strong, right? But you go all over the world and they may not have the same standards. They have poor standards, and so you have more mishaps, more sicknesses, and things like that. But again, America is not perfect, and we are one of the sickest people in the world in the industrialized nations. But all that being said, anyway, okay. So you have people in this news report. Um, so how they place it now? They get a young Black American woman interview these African ladies, and they were saying, "Oh, uh, oh, why should we have to be licensed? The cosmetologists, they want us to get licensed, and uh, well, so we have to go to cosmetology school, but it costs so much money." And she's whining about that. If you want it, you got to pay to play. So she doesn't want to go to cosmetology school, because she says, "Well, I don't want to do the chemicals, the hair straightening thing. I just want to do hair braiding." Okay, she might want to just do hair braiding. Yeah, she can specialize, but you got to get your license to play in America. Okay, everybody wants to come to America to make money, and in particular, make money off of Black America. No one's paying us. We have to pay others and make others rich. But anyway, so um, they were complaining and saying that they don't want to go through the process and spend thousands and thousands. Now, when I went to cosmetology school, I think it was roughly $19,000, ten or $19,000 a year. Wait, my mistake. Wait. Okay, it was a special program where I was going. I went to a vocational school. Okay, you could pay $100 every month. Oh gosh. So, I remember this special program is by the government. It was $1,500, I think it was. $1,500, which was a steal. The private schools, yes, in the thousands and thousands of dollars. Okay, you learn the same thing, but this one is run by the government. It's a vocational school for alternative for uh, high school students who don't want to complete high school degree. They just want to learn a skill and get a job. Okay, that's why it was placed there in Jersey. It was in North Bergen County School in New Jersey. Um, it was a good program, but again, it was a program really. It really is through the eyes of uh, white people, people of European ancestry. Uh, it did cover hair relaxing, the techniques and all that. It covered nails, it covered skin, it covered barbering, the whole caboodle. They also teach about sanitation, diseases that people can get. And then they train you, they teach you what you need to know to pass I'm sorry, the, um, the exam. There's an exam, a licensing board examination for cosmetology or beautician thing. Um, but it's not a focus on black hair care. Okay, so you learn the generalities on, um, you know, also hair perming. People with straight hair want to get curled. Uh, the hair coloring, but it's really through the eyes of Caucasian. So we get like a dummy, a head with hair on it, but it is a straight hair and a white skinned one at that. So it's through the eyes of doing a Caucasian, a straight haired person. You don't get like a head that's a curly or Afro texture type of hair. So they should have really both hair types on that mannequin. Get two mannequins. And you should both all races should learn. You in America learn all different types of hair types, okay? To do it the state board way, standardization, just like you go to a skin doctor. The skin doctor works on every type of skin. You go, let's say a heart doctor, they got to do all types of hearts. Or foot doctor, right? Okay. So you have to have a broad spectrum in doing humanity, People have all types of hair types, but you got to learn, and you have to have a standardization. But again, people on the board usually come from one, if a specific place usually. And in New York City, the tri-state area, it's very guarded by who's going to control a particular market, you know. Um, you have it. Yes, it's controlled, heavily controlled, and they don't want to remove their power. Okay, thank you for the thumbs up. They don't want to remove their power upon other groups. It's very I think New York City and the tri-state area is very tribal in their mentality. Everybody seems to be against everybody there. And so yeah, in the Jersey and stuff like that, back when I was in cosmetology school, who ran our school was it was a they have a that school once wanted always a husband and wife team. And in the school, the person was training me, the husband was an Italian man and the wife was Jewish, and she taught the cosmetology class. Yeah, they wanted a husband and wife who has a salon and stuff like that for whatever reason. That's how they wanted it. And years later, when I checked the school out again, they were saying the same thing. Well, yeah, we're looking for another husband and wife team because so and so passed away. Yeah, my former teacher had just passed away, and they're looking for preferably a husband wife. And right now they had this Hispanic person there. Um, so so what happened now? Um, so yeah, the lens of the school and much of America is through the guise of whiteness. So it excluded it excluded a lot of things, like let's say cornrow, how do you cornrow, how to braid. They didn't really talk about that. Um, how to do an afro, how to how they're not really training like that. But the people in this school, they work on each other's hair. That's how you learn. All the students do each other's hair, their nails, their skin, and all that. Hair coloring, all do each other's hair. That's how they learn. And then they have clients that come in, you know. Uh, they get it cheap, they get it done cheaply, and they have someone do what they want. So with this school now, it they they it had its limitations, but again, it was a standardization, and you needed to finish, and to practice in America. You need to be licensed to practice. So yeah, with this story now with the girl. uh, this young black woman was interviewing the African women, um, and she was how she came across was she was pro these women, these African women who are hair braiders like that. Well, yes, who are they to question our ability? We did this in Africa. We know hair braiding, and the girl would say, "Oh, why are they doing that?" And oh, oh, they're insulting you. But no, no, they're not insulting you. But maybe some of them might want to insult you. But standardization. How do we know that in Africa? Well, firstly, regardless where you're from and your traditions, you're coming to another country that has its qualifications. Just like you can't go in America and go to their countries to be a medical doctor. You have to have standardization, and you have to be tested everywhere. So, how do we know that she didn't get people sick in her country? Does she know about sanitation? Does she know about diseases? What is her training in that? Does she know how to administer certain things to stop bleeding? So she was also saying that she said, we don't want to do the cosmetology because we don't have the money. It costs thousands of dollars, and we don't want to work with the chemicals. We're only using our hands and a comb. What need more do we need to do the cosmetology? We just want to do hair braiding. Okay, I can see that someone has a specialty, but regardless of her specialty, we still have to make sure of standardization and that you protect the public. Everything is about protecting the public. Laws are made to protect, but of course, we know that people abuse the law. But the essence of laws is to protect the public. You don't want to go to get a procedure done and then an accident happens. And again, when I was in the hair industry, yes, I got hurt. I got hurt. Was she trying to hurt me? No. But I still got hurt. And I still had to go to a doctor. Okay. So I take this very personal, all this. And again, I see both sides to the coin. You know, I see the black side and the white side in this matter. I understand both arguments, but it's all about safety because anybody can get hurt regardless of their race, creed, color, whatever you want to call it. Anybody. So again, so this news report, you had the lady, young black American woman interviewing these black African women from West Africa, and that they didn't like that they felt the board wasn't addressing their issue, that they didn't want to have to go to cosmetology school. They want to try to fast track it and to be able to practice in America doing hair braiding. And so, and they did show some of the people that were in the board, the board, the cosmetology board, and it was an elderly white guy, and he was in a room about doing cutting a man's hair, an elderly man's hair, and it made it look funny. That look at these elderly white people, and they're on the board of examination for licensing to get a license in cosmetology to um, get permitted to do hair. And yes, these elderly white men with straight hair, they don't get their hair braided, and they probably don't. Yeah, they probably don't care. They probably don't care about a bunch of African women, uh, um, who want to do braiding hair. They don't understand hair braiding. They probably don't want to know. But either way, they are that person was on the board. And if you want to do a fast track, you have to know how to uh, talk to people. And you coming in the country and you want to get your way. Well, you have to know how to talk to them. And you don't force something, especially if you're an outsider. So you should try to set up an appointment and talk to a representative and try to address the issue of cosmetology. You can write letters and say, hey, I have this experience and there's a growing trend in hair braiding. And we'd like if probably you could have a special license for just those who want to get hair braiding. Things like that. You have to play it smart, people. You have to play it smart, regardless of your race, people. You can't always use the race card. But yes, we know that there is race involved in all this. Yes, but you got to play it smart. So it angered me. I felt angry because I understood what they were trying to what they were trying to communicate, but again, are these women do they practice safely? You have a lot of Black Americans that go to these places, and if you examine these Black women's scalp, they look awful. You go and look at the average Black head in America. Really look at their hair, their natural hair. It looks awful, the condition. You see a lot of us, Black women, we have bald spots on our head. Bald spots on our heads. Why? I tell you why. A lot of Black Americans, we hate our own hair. And you have a Black hair person, Black so-called hairstylist or Black braid, whatever, who hate Black people's hair themselves, but it makes them money. And they mistreat your scalp and hair. You have Black hating other Blacks. Black people hating their own Black hair. And you have this biased person doing your hair for money. They don't wash their fucking hands. They don't wash their hands. When they go poo-poo in the bathroom, do they wash their fucking hands? Do they? They scratch their hands, scratch their own head, scratch their booty, scratch their arm, and then they go cough on their hand, and they're going to work on your fucking head. Hello? Hello? Am I speaking truth? Am I speaking truth, people? Am I? I worked in the industry. I went to cosmetology school and I left because of the racism in it. And I also during school, when the year I went to school, cosmetology school, I also worked in beauty salons. I saw the practices that were being done and I was fed up. They're very racist. But Black people's hair needs to be protected regardless of the racist people that work in these industries, that own these businesses, and the licensing board of examination of cosmetology. I experienced it. I lived it. So anyway, they so yes, these African women could be the top of the top in knowledge of to braiding hair. But do they know about sanitation in these places? Do they learn about sanitation in West Africa or anywhere in the third world? Probably not. Probably not. People just kind of learn from, what their parents do, and they just copy. And they copy the same fucking mistakes of fuck ups. A fuck up treating another fuck up. So yeah, they come to America to make a lot of money, or for Black Americans, right? Demanding now that they want to do hair braiding. They want to get on the fast track. Oh, I don't want to get cosmetology license. I want to just do hair braiding. Okay, yeah. Well, you got to pay to play. You got to pay to play, right? You have to pay to play in America. And if you don't want to pay, then get out. Go back to your country and do the fucking hair there. Black Americans need to be more protective over one another and stop always using the race card when it's not really the race card at times. Yes, it can be in there. Oh, yes. But in the long run, you, Black women and Black men, are the ones who get the short end of the stick and get hurt in the process of politics being done about you and on you and around you. Did that African woman or African man who does hair braiding, are they clean? Do they wash their hands? Do they wear gloves? Do they wear gloves? The implement. Here the lady was talking about, oh, why should we get a cosmetology license? Oh, we just need a comb and a hands. Well, did she sanitize? Did she sanitize that comb? Did she? Okay, you have comb, hair comb, with what they call a rat tail end, that pointed thing that's extended from the comb. They call a rat tail comb. And then she's going to take the pointed end and then scrape it along your scalp. This comb was not sanitized. This comb could have fallen on the floor. Let's say someone walked in from outside and they walked on doggy poo-poo. And that comb falls on where that person walked upon that had walked in doggy poo-poo. She picks up the comb and then proceeds to put it on your fucking scalp. Scratches your scalp with that comb, that rat tail comb, and then you get a fucking hair infection. You get a fucking hair infection. Or what's if she didn't wash her hands after she poo-poo or pee-pee? Or let's say she was eating a meal and licking her fingers, and then she's working on your scalp with these hair braids. Why do you see so many Black people with fucking nasty scalps? Because you got nasty people in the hair business who aren't real professionals. They're wannabes. And they want to make quick money off of Black Americans. And they come in, don't know a damn thing about sanitation, nor do they care about sanitation and cleanliness. As I mentioned earlier, that there is a human trafficking of African hair braiders being forced to America to do hair and are slaves. They're being kidnapped, being tricked, like the woman I talked about. The lady said, oh, you do you want to do hair braiding in America? Oh, yeah. Do you have a passport? Oh, yeah. And they would bring them over. They stole the lady's passport. She couldn't escape. And they threatened her. And then they didn't pay her and weren't really feeding her. They said, you better make your quota or else. And this was in New Jersey. They lived in New Jersey, and then they ship them over to Harlem to do hair braiding. And then they came back home, go back to Jersey and had to give the money to them. The lady eventually escaped and went to the authorities. There was a couple, a married couple, black African couple from West Africa, who were enslaving their own people and were arrested. They had over $1 million, over $1 million enslaving their own race, their own nationality, tricking the girls to come to America to braid here, make money. And then they stole the money from these women and threatened to hurt them. And this was just a couple of years ago. Yeah. So that's what, I was looking for that story on the on the news just now, just a couple of minutes ago. And found the other video with this Black American woman interviewing the African ladies and making the African ladies seem like victims. Well, these other women were not victims. And they were beefing about wanted to practice hair braiding but did not want to uh, be licensed. They didn't want to pay to play. See, it's selfish. And the Black American woman was used to make, as they say, the white man look evil. And yes, maybe that white man was evil. But either way, in the end, you have Black people being exploited, being forced into slavery, modern day slavery, in the hair braiding business. And how good is a slave going to perform? You think that slave that's being threatened, you think she's going to care about sanitation? You better be licensed. See, when you're licensed and people checking, you're also protecting the industry's integrity over the craft of hair braiding. When you are a licensed practitioner of cosmetology, and again, you can specialize in anything once you graduate with your license in cosmetology. And again, you always have to, after every few years, have to get new training to stay abreast on the field. They don't want to do it. They just want to have fun, practice it their way. And so they're disrespecting the American system and the Black America, or anybody who wants to get hair braided, not just Black people get their hair braided. Anybody can get their hair braided, right? Anybody, if they have the money and they want to get their hair braided, they can get their hair braided. But it's a lack of professionalism that is being done upon the Black community, and we're suffering. People who don't want to pay to play, and they want to play your background, Black America, and then use you to make the system look evil. And then, oh, you're discriminating against these Black women. Well, how do you know they really know their craft? How do you know? How do you know? Just because someone's Chinese doesn't mean they know how to make noodles, right? Anybody. Yes, and that sounds biased, what I just said. But I'm trying to make a point. Just because someone is African doesn't mean that they know how to, the ins and out of the field of hair braiding. Do they know about sanitation? Do they know how to clean the implement? Do they know how to perform their craft safely upon your head? I had my hair done before, and I got injured. I, in the 1980s, went to a place to get hair weaving. And back then, it was done in 1987. The thing of hair weaving wasn't as popular as it is now. And in those days, people actually tried to pretend that their hair was actually long. They didn't want people to know they actually had hair extension. And there was a friend of mine that had her hair done. And I said, oh, wow, I want to know. I want to get it done too. I see I had low self-esteem. And I thought, oh, it'd be fun to have long hair that I could just show off it. And she was a nice lady. She did a job. She was a mature lady. She could have been in her 60s, 70s, years of age. And I got injured. How I got injured, when you do putting on the tracks for the hair weave, the ankle parts of when they anchored onto your hair, it caused tension on that spot and it fell out. The bald spot. It created bald spots in my scalp. Bald spots. And how I found out I had the bald spots. Yeah, it was a long ass weave I had. I thought I was something else. Yeah, it took a long time to do. Is super long, and I was attending cosmetology school, and one of the students was washing my hair, and when she separated the part of my hair, uh, she saw the spot. She said, "Oh, your scalp." I said, "What? You got bald spots, honey." I I felt so violated. I went back to that lady, please get the weave out of my hair. I got bald spot. Blah, 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 blah. And she was in no rush to remove it. She didn't care. She was, well, I'm busy right now. I said, you got to take this thing out now. Well, she didn't. And I had to go to another hair salon and said, please take this thing out of my hair. I had bald spots. I just came from the doctor. The doctor, I had bald spots. Please take this out. And they took it out. They didn't know how to take it out, but they did the best they could. So here I have damaged hair because of them trying to remove the tracks from my scalp, plus the bald spots because of the hair traction of the hair weave. But the same thing could happen with hair braiding. They put on those damn braids so fucking tight. And you wonder why a lot of us black women have bald. You ever see the forehead? So they do this thing. They have it so damn tight on their hairline, and they have all these bald spots in the front of their hairline because of traction alopecia. What I had traction alopecia because of the hair weave. It was done so fucking tight at the ankle point, and the hair has to relieve itself because of the pressure on the scalp, and so it falls out in a bald spot. That's what personally happened to me. So I don't care how many fucking generations, 1,000 generations of hair weaving or hair braiding or hair coloring or whatever, you can injure another human being. Stop always making it a racial thing when it's not always racial. People get hurt. Luckily, my bald spot eventually grew back in. But a lot of us black women, they have bad scalps. They have scabs on their scalp. They have scarring on their scalps, and their hair doesn't grow back. It's like they have a disease on their head. It looks awful. Or they do their hair relaxes, and it burns their scalp. All these people, I don't care how many generations they've been doing whatever they're doing, they're hurting people, some of us. We need a standardization. We need a standardization in doing hair. You need to get organized in these school systems, these uh, board of examination. But we need American people who are from America to lead these board of examination, to contact the board and say, hey, we need, we have a growing field of, this thing in the black community, but we need a standardization. And we need people of those groups to be in the board, not just these elderly white men. Have different people representing different ethnic groups to protect all of us, all people who want to get their hair done. Anybody could get their hair braided. You want standardization. Just like you go to a heart doctor, where did that person go? What school did they go to? Oh, I learned from my grandpa and my grand. How do we know? We do know that if you get things, different countries do things certain ways. There's a standardization, and you have to have protection um, embedded in this. You have to have, people, the client being protected, the public protection. Solely just someone knowing how to do hair because their ancestors taught them is not enough. Did their ancestors teach them sanitation? Cosmetology is a broad field. It covers many aspects of beauty of the hair, skin, and nails, and barbering. And you learn about diseases. You learn about diseases, people. Let's say you have you're getting your nails done, and let's say they didn't clean the tools to do the nails, and they're pushing on the cuticle, and the nail pusher uh wasn't sanitized. Well, an infection can get inside your nail. Did you know that the nail bed, the blood vessels under the nail bed, they're blood vessels, and that filth could go into your blood system, and you get an infection in your whole entire body. That could happen. That could happen. Let's say they're doing your feet. Let's say you're diabetic. You're a diabetic and you're getting your feet done. And if they're not careful, again, they're not using chemicals, but they're using an implement to push back your cuticles, or maybe they're using a sandboard to shave off the calluses, where you can get an infection. And if you're a diabetic, and there are a lot of diabetics in the black community, and if they're not careful, you can get hurt. Stop making it always seem like it's a racial issue. If you don't get your way, there are a lot of things we're probably safer not getting our way, because if we always got our way, we would really be in a bad shape and be hurt. We just let any clown come into the United States to do a particular thing on our bodies, and because of the race card. Well, you're going to be the guinea pig. You're going to be that guinea pig, and you can get hurt. I went in those African hair braiding places. I personally went in some of them, and it's a horror. You think it's a bunch of it's crowded, it's stinky. They don't wash their hands. They don't wash the implements, and then they get the like the fake hair, the hair to do the braiding. Was that hair cleaned? It's going on your fucking scalp. What's happening, people? Did they wash that product? Look at just look. I'm not lying. Go and walk into one of those places in Harlem or any black community in America. Look at them. Look at those places. A lot of those women are modern day slaves. They don't have any license. They're being forced to do what they're doing. And who knows whether they're even paying taxes for the money that you give them, Black America. You're giving your money, and then that money is funneled somewhere in some foreign country, and your Black community in America gets poorer and poorer and poorer because the money is being sucked out of your hands and going into some foreign ass country. And plus, you get hurt in the process because they're not cleaning their hands or combs or floors. It looks fucking nasty. And I got my hair done here in Africa before. Yeah, I was so excited getting my hair done. People, you gotta be careful, man. I sometimes get scared to get something done because the sanitation sucks. I love these people here, but love is not enough. When my life is at stake, when someone is not cleaning their hands, cleaning their implements, and the body odor of certain individuals, and they are working on you. And I mean, you go and see what it's like. We have a poor ways of doing business. See, we're short-sighted. It's not about the craft. It's about the money they make it. It's about the money in their eyes. You gotta know what you're doing because you're gonna hurt somebody in the process, regardless of their race, their color. Yeah, you have people, you have Black people who hate Black people and they're doing your hair. Please, please be careful. Please be more selective of who comes into your neighborhood doing business on your people. You should demand and ask them, do you have a license? And if they say no, we've been hair braided for 1,000 generations. They say, well, does your generation, did they teach about certain diseases that can happen on the scalp? What can happen on the scalp? Oh, that's it, because they don't know. They don't know. And then you wonder why certain ethnic groups die or get sick with certain conditions because they don't know and they don't care. And I don't want anybody like that doing working on my body. What if you go in a foreign country and you want to get an operation? Oh well, I don't have to get a license to be a surgeon. You better demand it. You better demand. Be selective, Black America or Blacks around the world. Have their license. Demand that they get a license to work on in your community. That's why some communities work better because they're more selective who moves in and opens up shop. Yes, and that leads me to another controversial subject with regard to, people doing business in your community. Also, I was exposed to uh, this new report about in Africa, you have a lot of people from China starting businesses in Black Africa. And this is interesting, this topic, because I'm now living in Africa, sub Saharan Africa. And So I have different perspectives since I'm actually living down here, and the people who I've talked to here regarding China. Now, again, we always get these bad news about China. And the only thing I know about China is that it has a lot of people and that they're communist. But interesting, I met someone at a party here in this country, and she had a very pro-Chinese stance. And I found it interesting. They said, well, at least China come to Africa to build roads, help us build roads. What is anybody else doing for us? She said. And she was a college student. She was a college student in China. And she was a smart woman, smart young black woman. And I can't, I'm not here to argue with anyone here in this country. I wanted to hear what she had to say. And she had a point about certain things. She said, hey, at least they are coming to Africa and to do things. But, instead, okay, they have this thing called U.S. aid in America that Americans sent to many African countries. Basically, it's this food, this so-called food that's being pushed onto these people in Africa. But what type of food is it? It's called USAID, and it's being pushed on Africans here. Not everything that someone gives you is good for you. And I want to say to, the woman, the young black woman had, what I would say to someone like her, not everybody that gives you something or helps you do something, they may not have your intention in mind. There's a story what you call the Trojan horse syndrome. The Trojan horse. Anybody know what that means about the Trojan horse? Be careful of Greeks who bear gifts. The expression goes, and it's something that happened in history. Um, that the, you had a group and there was a war. It wasn't in Greece or something in the Mediterranean. It was a war that happened a long, 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 long time ago, and this one group was losing, and they wanted to fight the enemies, and so they pretended to be friends with the enemies. They said, "Oh, we have a gift for you." And the gift was this giant man-made horse. It's like it's like a wooden horse, a giant one. But what their enemies didn't know was that inside this wooden horse were soldiers. And see, the soldiers needed to get behind the gate. And so it was a pretense. They had a gift, like a truce. And so, okay, then they brought it inside the gate. And then later on that evening, the soldiers got out of the wooden horse and slaughtered the people. Okay, that's where that comes from. Beware of Greeks who bear gifts, because that gift could be a Trojan horse to destroy you. And yes, you have people who from other developing countries who might come to Africa to do things for it, but is it in your best behalf? Is it a Trojan horse, people? Can do business with who you want to do business with, but make sure you know what their motives are. Are they creating these roads because they want to bring in their army into your country and destroy you? Hello? It's just a question I'm asking. So yeah, the woman said, "Hey, at least the Chinese are building roads. People, Africa, build your own fucking roads. Build your own roads. You got all these young people. One thing in Africa, you have a lot of young people. Why aren't they using them to build the fucking roads? Have your own people build roads. It's cheaper. It's cheaper, at least to give your people a sense of dignity and pride in their country. Build your own roads. Build them. Build them. So I started also thinking about with China, this documentary I was watching. It was a news report, actually, news report. And there was this particular country in Africa, in southern Africa. And there's a war that, I mean, not war, but there's fighting going on. There's riots happening in this one country in southern Africa. I just found out today. And they're rioting against, they're, what do you call it? They are vandalizing the Chinese businesses in their country. It looked like hundreds and hundreds of local blacks going into businesses and looting the property, looting the companies. And it seems like there's an anger being done against these Chinese people in this southern African country. And I was horrified at the fact that there was a Chinese woman in her 50s, and she started a business and she has a farm in this southern African country. And according to the news report, this woman had hired a man 6 days prior to like be the manager of the property, the farm or something. He was called a manager. And then it turned out he was fired. And this man came back and destroyed her and was found riding in this Chinese woman's a car. And this Chinese lady had family in China, and they couldn't find their relative, their mom. And the mom had business associates, and they couldn't find her either. And I guess the authorities were called, and then they couldn't find her at her business. And then they started asking questions, and they found out what happened. A former employee who got fired after 6 days destroyed her, unalived her, and stole money too. And why that scared me so much is because, see, you can be in a country, a foreign country, but if you are not a local or if you're not perceived as a local, you too could be unalived. When someone gets angry, remember that song, "A Hungry Man is an Angry Man"? That is a Caribbean song this lady told me about years ago. And it made me laugh, the title, "A Hungry Man is an Angry Man." Does any of you know this song? Oh, wow, a hungry man is an angry man. Yeah. Yeah, you get a man who's hungry, and they could be hungry for a lot of things. I mentioned about that, the hungry man's the angry man. When a man doesn't feels like they're not getting, if they're feeling like they're getting overlooked for jobs, they're gonna be angry at you. So even though you have all these Chinese businesses in Africa in some places, there's still an extreme have and have not. So you're getting new people starting businesses, and there seems to be a resentment in these countries against these new people from China starting businesses. But again, they're allowed in and they're allowed to do businesses by the government in these African countries. Why aren't these countries in Africa, these people, the leaders in some of these African countries, why aren't they protecting their um, their citizens? That should be the first question. There should be laws with foreigners starting businesses that you got to hire local people. Is that happening? Or are they just being angry because someone else is making money and they're not making money? Why aren't they starting their own businesses? What's preventing Africans to start up their own African businesses? You have to ask yourself that question. And if the answer is, well, your government's not uh, training you how to do business, well, that is something you should address. What are your priorities? Is your priority to start a business? Or is it to uh, get employed by somebody else? What are your priorities? How are you helping yourself? Why are you getting angry at someone who's starting a business in your country? If you don't want the business, don't do business with them. Why loot a country? Why loot somebody else's business? You're hurting your own country, poor people. You are hurting your own country when you vandalize a company. What you do to others will happen to you. The law of what karma, law of effect. What you sow, you reap. What you reap, you sow. That is a reality. That is a reality. And so you don't like somebody from another country. Well, what if you want to start a business in another country or in China? You know, you have Africans living in China. So do you want the Chinese to burn down your stores? Stop it. Stop it. You're not helping yourself when you destroy somebody's business. Then there's no jobs for anyone and no services. And you have people burning down businesses in black America. And it's like they burned them down during these riots. And so at the end of the riot, these black communities are worse off because they are burning their own communities' businesses. So where is your mom or dad going to get the shopping done if you burn down everything? You are hurting yourself. You are hurting yourself. That is not how you fight. That is not how you fight. You have an issue with a company, go to that company. Go to your leader and say, hey, uh, the company's not hiring us. That's something you can do. Or again, just don't do business with them. Don't do business with them. They'll fall out of business. But you do business with them. Or maybe you're forced to do business. Maybe it's the only place to buy your food. Or maybe it's the only place where you can get medical care. Start pinpointing the problem. You have to pinpoint what your problem is and resolve those issues. Address those issues in your country. Start something on a grassroots level. How to develop your country. How to expand. How to utilize what you do have. If your leaders aren't helping you, address issues to your leaders or remove your leaders in a legal way. But you burning down your own businesses and then destroy, unaliving a woman. I was so horrified to hear that. I was horrified. It still staggers me when a man unalives a woman. Makes me feel that you're a misogynist. What happened? Why did they unalive her? Because he wanted to steal from her. Stole her money, stole her car. Why were you fired? Probably because you did a fuck up job. So, it's like, I start to wonder, how safe are we people when you go to a place? Let's say you're a retiree living abroad, and let's say you live in a retiree community. And then people may start to pinpoint and think that you are the problem because you have and they don't. Well, you're not making money from their country. But again, it's by perception, and perception supersedes reality. Perception is perception, and it's what directs you into your behavior, your thinking and your behavior. If you think someone is rich because they have taken from you, then in their eyes, that's the reality. But they may never have made money in that country. There might be a retiree from another country, a rich country, and they settle in your country. Yeah, you're attacking the wrong person. You're attacking. You gotta really think ahead. What's really going on? And if you don't like a particular person doing business in your community, address the issue with the government official, or just don't do business with you. Africans are very hardy people. We are survivors. You don't need those things. A lot of things we don't need in our community, but you want them in your community, and then you feel badly because you can't afford it sometimes. If you want something, you work for it. Educate yourself and get the licenses you need to practice in whatever country you're in. Yeah, I'm really worried about with this thing in people from China doing business in Africa. Because it's like a one thing, people would say, yes, they're in Africa, China, and they doing all these things in Africa. But some Chinese might be hurting the African. I told you also some years ago about a Chinese man in a southern African country, and he was locking the people um, in a small room, and they're not allowed outside. And the mayor of the community found out and reprimanded the man. And when that man reprimanded them, the Chinese man went to the authorities in Africa and got the black mayor, in trouble and demanded or commanded him to apologize on television, national television, apologizing for a Chinese man who was trying to exploit black people. See, that's also what's happening. Maybe some of these businesses in China are giving money to their government, to the governments here, for them to do illicit stuff on the public. They're getting money in the pocket. And so, because they're getting money, I'm wondering, they want to keep that money flowing, and they're even willing to sacrifice upon their own black citizens. That is an evil. There is an evil that is happening all over the world. They're exploiting the indigenous people for money, doing double deals. It's sad. And then people get angry, and then they want to destroy these businesses. But they come out in worse position, the blacks in these countries. They're doing worse. You got to think smart. You got to organize in a safe and reliable way. Stop abusing your own people. And it's all about money, power, and control. Stop it. There's enough for everybody. But it's like everybody's all about the dollar, the money, but they're not about service. They're not about caring for one another. And in the end, all of us, all of humanity is going to be heard. All of us, regardless of race, color, religion, everything. They're frightening you people, and they're making you money centered. Money ain't real. Money really isn't real, but they make it into a God. And God's supposed to be the creator and the control over the world. But in this world, the money, money is the new God and is dictating all our behavior. It's not really even real. The monetary system, the fiat money, it's not real. Yet we are all, we people all over the world are fighting for fiat money. It's not even real, but you think it's real. And we get jealous and angry at others who have more than us. And you're doing so, and it's not even real, but you feel it's real because they created the system, the monetary system, to be the new slave masters. And it's about the have and the have nots. And people in Africa are no different than any other part of the world. They really aren't. And they will harm their own people just as fast. It's a fear of not having this money. And this monetary system is your real enemy. And you do anything and everything for money. And in the end, you all perish. Let's stop this wild behavior, this wild lifestyle that we want. We want this bling bling lifestyle. Live according to your means. Live according to your means. And be happy with what you have. And if you want more, then think ways, maybe work with other people, how to help your society. Yeah, these countries in Africa, some of them are destroying their own the businesses because they're foreign owned. But in the end, you will get hurt yourself. You're worse off. Africa, please educate your young people so they won't have to riot because they get angry. Educate the young. Have programs for them to go to when they're not in school to keep their minds active. Educate them into how to do a task. Educate them. Get them off the street. Have them in programs. Have them go in the military. Have them pay them to repair the roads, clean the streets. You can hire them to do that. Give them dignity. Give them hope. So these are the thoughts, people. Yeah, I'm afraid for Africa. I mean, some of the things I know it sounds kind of contradictory, but it's two, one coin but two different sides. Yeah, people are getting angry, and they're not safe. They're not safe. Wow, it's frightening. Absolutely frightening. Please don't believe the hype. Please don't believe the hype. Money is not your friend. Money is not your friend. It's keeping you in bondage. It's making you just anti-human. You're not loving humanity. We're not loving ourselves. We do anything for money. We do anything. But people, buyer beware. Buyer beware. So these are just some of the things that I addressed today. I talked about different topics, and the last thing I talked about was about China and Africa and the riots and the killing of a Chinese woman for her money. I talked about the hair braiding industry in America and that people are being enslaved today in America, these hair braiders. They're being lied upon by, tricked by their own people in Africa. Passports are being taken away from them by their fellow African and are hurting the hair braiders. And I know I talked about something else. Oh, I don't remember now. Yeah, so these are the main things I talked about that's concerning me. That should be concerning you. Yeah, be careful, people. Be careful. I care about all of us. And I know what I'm saying might sound controversial. I might come across like a bigot against my own people. But I'm just trying to say, look, there are two sides to a coin. And just because something might be of a particular race doesn't, just because someone, what do you call it, skin folk is not necessarily king folk. Just because someone might look like it doesn't mean that their intentions are for you. It could be used against you. Have people license. Someone in your Black community is doing here, are they licensed? Do they practice sanitation? And if they get angry, there's a reason why they're angry, because they're not following it. And you, Black America, could get sick. Be selective who's in your neighborhood, who's doing services. Insist that they have their licensing for it, for whatever what they're doing upon your body. So many of us are getting sick. Who's doing your hair? Does this person wear gloves? Do they wash their hands after they go to the bathroom? Do they drop their implement on the floor, like the comb or the pick? It fall on the floor. Do they wash it? Do they sanitize it? The answer is no. And you, Black person, whoever whose head that they're working on, regardless of the hair type, can be affected. And you can get sick. And you can even die from these bloodborne diseases. Be selective who's doing your hair. Don't always say, oh, because they're of your race or they're from Africa or whatever. That doesn't make them your friend. It doesn't make sure that it doesn't insist that they have a standardization of way how to do it. Do they have their license? Do they know about sanitation? What do they know? You can be the next victim. Let us not be victims anymore. Be selective who's going to make money in your neighborhood. So with that, all that being said, I said a lot. Again, I said things that might have offended some people. My intention was not to offend. My intention was just to inform and to give my belief about what's going on in the world. Be safe, people. Thank you. Until next time, okay? Peace, love, joy, and harmony to you. Bye-bye.